when I got to the bit where the character's introduced, it describes the dash of her car as being full of trash and sweet wrappers and a dead bird and her wooden hand on the steering wheel. She's smoking a cigarette, listening to Italian rock. And I just thought, I'm in. I can smell this character. She smells bad.
I was born on a small island in the Black Sea. People say it's a dangerous place. There are bears and wolves and something else. Something people fear is much worse.
Helena, I'd like to start with you. I mean, your main co-star in the film, obviously the baby Ochi, is incredibly lifelike. What was it like performing alongside this puppet? Especially, I'm interested in the collaboration with the puppeteers that were bringing him to life.
It was very interesting, because I did not only have one co-star, but like seven, because there was like six people around the OG, and I mean their department is like it's incredible. It's like a whole different work to build, to make something else come alive, but doing that as your job. They were moving him around. They would make his eyes blink, they would make his mouth move, or just his sounds. And I feel like that was such an like intense and close work with them. And at the same time, I had to pretend like they were not there and like imagine that there's no one behind the Ochi. So I feel like that was something very special, and like creating this world around him with them and like coordinating all the time was like a very one-to-one work, and really like talk about the scene. How can I move to help you? How can they move? So I would have so it would be easier for me to like not look at them but at the Ochi. And it was great. We had a good time.
Well, I love the look and feel and atmosphere of this movie. Finn, as a filmmaker yourself now, I mean, what can you tell me about Isaiah's approach to the material, and what was it like watching him realize this fantastical vision?
Yeah, I mean, I think he had the movie in his head for a long time and knew exactly what he wanted and was a real, I think, visionary. And I think he's like an incredible world builder as well. He's very like detail oriented, and I think in a positive way. I think he's like he knows exactly what he needs to get, and I think he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty and do stuff himself also, like art things, or if it was like a painted background or something, or a matte painting, he would do it himself. So I think I just learned just by being around him that sometimes you don't have to do everything yourself, and you shouldn't, because you should have amazing artists around you, which is what he did. He got together this amazing team of artists, but at the same time, in order to get the story that he wanted, he also wasn't afraid to do stuff on his own either.
Speaking of getting your hands dirty, I mean, Helena, you definitely go through a lot in the movie. It's a demanding role, I would say. What can you tell me about some of the physical challenges of playing this character?
Well, we shot on location most of the time. We were like in the Carpathian Mountains. And
A lot of walking.
Yeah, I did a lot of walking, and endless walks. I'm pretty sure I walked a marathon on that movie. And I feel like it's like we all really stepped up our game. We were up in the mountains, in the mud, in the cold, in the fog. We were running around. I remember we were shooting in the forest where Willem is running in the front and we're following him, and I just kept on trying not to look at the ground, but at the same time having to look at it so I wouldn't fall. And so it was like, yeah, right? I feel like I almost tripped like 500 times. So it was like anything we would do was so like you needed to really like concentrate on what you're doing right there. And mainly physically, I would say. Yeah, there were a lot of physical scenes. Also when I'm like jumping out of the window with the Ochi because I want to save him, or the car scene, there's a lot of like physical stuff that we're doing. The swimming, I remember swimming in the studios all day. I loved it, I like it. But the jacket was like so heavy, like
Oh yeah.
when it got
I
soaked
totally
up,
forgot about that, yeah.
it was like, man, like this was really heavy. So
Do you know who has that jacket? Do you?
I have it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wore it a few times and people would think that I don't know, I'm from the streets because it was like so dirty. But I loved it, yeah. But that thing was really heavy, so I didn't have to go to the gym, so
You'll be torn apart. They can't be our pets.
He's my friend.
I'm coming for you!
Stay close by my side.
Now, Isaiah, I know this film has been in the works for a while, 6-7 years, maybe more. Now that it's finally coming out, how do you feel about sending it out into the world? And does the final product resemble what you had imagined when you first dreamt it up?
It does resemble what I imagined. Largely, that's why it took so long, is I wasn't going to settle for anything less. And it just required a tremendous amount of post-production to do all the matte paintings and visual effects and to get it there. Now that it's out in the world, I'm happy as a clam. I'm dancing around. I'm having a good time. This is like, this film took 7 years, but I've been trying to make my first feature for 20 years. So this is what I've been working for. And, the kind of nerves of first showing it at Sundance and all that are finally over. And so now I can just look at people's faces who have just seen the film and know that I did it. So.
Emily, your character is really fun, and she's a bit of a recluse, but also a survivor and really tough as nails. I don't think we've seen you in a part like this before, and is that what attracted you to the character?
Oh, it was just delight. When I got to the bit where the character's introduced, it describes the dash of her car as being full of trash and sweet wrappers and a dead bird and her wooden hand on the steering wheel. She's smoking a cigarette, listening to Italian rock. And I just thought, I'm in. I can smell this character. She smells bad. This was really fun.
Plus, you get to beat up Willem Dafoe, which I don't know a lot of people can say that.
Yes. I get the better of him. It's really proper fun.
Isaiah, can you talk about some of your inspirations, both visually and story-wise? Because certainly the movie got me thinking of some of the great, 80s adventure flicks that I grew up loving.
Sure. My aesthetic kind of comes from my childhood, just being an illustrator, just being a kid who draws, and then that turned into being a kid who sculpts, and that turned into filmmaking, in which I kind of parlayed those skills into, this very practical approach where I like to paint what the movie's going to be before I make it, and then I want to build stuff, and then after I've shot it, I want to continue to paint on top of the image to make it as beautiful as it can be. And so that's really what the aesthetic is, almost born out of just my interest in doing the things in a way. But I'm deeply influenced by the history of painting primarily, and then in film, the cinematography touch points here were like Black Stallion, There Will Be Blood, Paris, Texas, Jaws. I see your shirt. I know, I had to get it in there. Close Encounters. These films that feel like they're using natural light, feel like they're both big and subtle at the same time. They have scope, but there's just this real grounded authenticity and patience to them. And that's what I was going for.
And Emily, what were your impressions of the world? Could you kind of visualize what Isaiah was going for, and what was it like when you saw the final product and got the full scope of it?
When I read the script, he'd had COVID, I think, to make this incredible little pitch movie that he sent to us all. And I think we all signed up within about 30 seconds after having watched this film. But I went to John Nolan's workshop in London before we shot to have my hand cast. And I saw the Ochi in a stage of, sort of on a hanger, or the adult, and I was thinking, God, how do you shoot this? What's it going to be? And then on my first day there, I went on a night shoot where they were doing the hunt. And it was the most exciting, visceral bit of filmmaking. I was really terrifying with this low dolly kind of shooting up the hill, and they're tearing up the wood, and there's fire, and it was properly scary. And I thought, okay, now I know what I'm getting into.
I can talk to you! I'm not asking you to understand.
Yuri, we're your family!
Just trust me.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.